Hey, I'm Pastor Jordan, and welcome to this week's Pause Devotional. Today I want to tell you about a fig tree and a guy named Nathaniel. If you're following along in our pause reading plan, this week we come across a moment in John chapter 1 between Jesus and a guy named Nathaniel, or I like to call him my boy Nate. Jesus, he shows up on the scene and he starts calling and inviting really normal people, just like you and me. And he's inviting them to follow him. And they do. Peter and Andrew and Philip, they drop everything and they start following Jesus, no questions asked. And then we meet this guy named Nathaniel. You see, Nate's not like the other disciples. He doesn't immediately drop everything. He has a few things to sort out before he's all in for Jesus. A couple of things he needs to work out in his own heart before he's able to drop everything and follow Jesus. And you see, Jesus is perfectly okay with that. Jesus meets Nate right where he's at. And maybe you're like me and you resonate or identify with Nathaniel. I want to propose today that the encounter that Nathaniel has with Jesus in John chapter 1 is the same encounter that Jesus wants to have with you today. Let's pick up the story in verse 45. Philip, he found Nathaniel and told him, "We found the one that Moses wrote about in the law, the one that the prophets wrote about, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." In essence, he's saying, we found our guy, Jesus. He's the one we've all been waiting for. And in verse 46, Nathaniel, he gives his response. He says, "Nazareth? Can anything good come from there?" And Philip, his friend, says to him, "You don't believe me? Well, come and see." In verse 47, it says, "When Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, he said of him, here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." Basically, Jesus shouts out to Nathanael and says, that's the kind of guy that we should all want to be like. We should all want to be like Nate. Now, Nathaniel, he responds to Jesus and he looks at him and says, "How do you know me?" Now, it's almost as if Nathaniel looks at Jesus and says, "How do you know me?" Or we would say, "New phone, who dis?" Right? Nathaniel's like, "You don't know who I am." Nathaniel's like, "I'm not even sure about this Jesus guy. He's from a sketchy part of town. I don't think I'm ready to be all in for Jesus." You see, Nate is wrestling with doubt and skepticism. And one sentence from Jesus, we're going to see it in verse 48, one sentence from Jesus breaks through all of Nathan's doubt and skepticism. Jesus looks at Nate and says, "I saw you. I saw you while you were still under the fig tree, before Philip even called you." See, and our boy Nate responds to Jesus and says, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Now, two things for you and me today. The first, maybe you feel like Nate, or you maybe have somebody in your life who reminds you of Nate. Maybe you've got questions, doubts, and you're not quite ready to go all in with Jesus. May I share with you what Philip shared with Nathaniel? Come and see. Come and see. How good is Jesus? Come and see. Come check it out. Can anything good come from Nazareth? Come and see how good Jesus is. You can't always think your way out of being stuck. Sometimes you just have to show up and have an encounter with God's presence that changes everything. Just come and see. Come and see. Come and see how good Jesus is. You see, following Jesus is not an intellectual exercise. It's not about arranging the mental furniture in some correct way. It's not about getting your beliefs just right. While beliefs are important, but they're not the whole thing. Jesus invites you and me into a way of life, an experience. It's a come and see kind of experience. Come see how good Jesus is. Now, secondly, know that Jesus sees you right where you're at. You see, in Jesus' day, a fig tree, it was a place that you went to think and pray and kind of sort things out. It was a place that you went to study. It was this private place where you could go and figure things out on your own. And Jesus says to Nathanael, "I've seen you there. I've seen you under the fig tree, wrestling with doubt and skepticism, and that's okay. That's okay. I've seen you there." Maybe you needed to hear that today, that Jesus sees you right where you're at, That those moments of pain and struggle and fear, anxiety, doubt, uncertainty, Jesus sees all of it. May you, like our friend Nathanael, encounter the Jesus that sees you right where you are and says, "Come and follow me." Hey, thanks for watching. You can find this and all of the other Pause devotionals on our website. Don't forget to follow all of our social media platforms. Have a great week.